Hello and thank you for joining us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, service chiefs battle on 1 year after as bandits and terrorists change tactics. Outrage over rising cases of ritual killings as court reminds 4 teenagers who beheaded a girl for money-making ritual in prison. In our Journalist Hangout weekend special, we focus on Borno State School for orphans as the state government addresses the out-of-school children syndrome. And later on the show, Egypt and Senegal lock horns in Africa Cup of Nations final. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Dotun Oladipo, while Musba Razak will join us later for sports. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Let's take time to celebrate diligence. The Assistant Inspector General of Police, AIG, in charge of Zone 2, Adeleke Adenika, recently decorated 2 resourceful police officers, Omolola Odutola and Babatola Adekunle, who were promoted to the rank of Superintendent of Police. The decoration ceremony, which took place inside the AIG's office at Zone 2 headquarters on Nikon, Lagos, was witnessed by friends, colleagues, family members, and pressmen. Let's say congratulations to Odutola and Adekunle on their promotion. Who are these guys?
The people who work lightly behind the scene. The woman you saw there works with the IRC, Bakari, the team that Bakari made famous with the successes that he recorded. And of course, the other man, I hope we get to see his picture, works with the FIB. So there are many people in the police that you don't get to see regularly. They don't no noise about them, but they are very good at what they do, and they are respected within the establishment. So it was an opportunity for the AIG to also speak to his people and admonish them to realize that the reward for hard work is more work. The eyes of their colleagues are on them now, and the AIG expects them to work even harder in the coming years and show greater love for the profession. Because according to him, you join the profession, you are not forced into it. Therefore, you must be happy with what you do. That's the mother of the policewoman helping the AIG with the...
Oh, the mother?
Yes, that's the mother.
Oh, good. One thing, Dotun, for some of us that we are like insiders, do you understand? We know the capacity of the police. We know that, look, it's not all yet a sad story. We know that there's some distinguished officers that are doing their jobs. We know there's some departments that are functional, that you can actually get results in the Nigerian police. We can't just join the bandwagon to generalize.
Well, there is this saying that in every 12, there must be a Judas. And you can't wish that away when it comes also to any institution, including the Nigeria police. And I think when we celebrate those who are the faces or eyes of a particular institution, we should also realize that there are some ground men who are doing the work. Like BQ mentioned, the lady works in the IRC, the intelligence response team, under Abakari. The person that we saw then, quite intelligent, the very first was Abakari. But there are some people doing their work diligently. Those are the people we don't see. And we don't get to hear about them unless there is a problem. Like when they went to arrest the soldier down there in Taraba, and they got involved in that face-off with the soldiers and all the rest. That's where you hear some of those names. You don't get to see them.
Play with their lives sometimes.
Yeah. So
they
they're
also have some pretty policewomen.
there are a couple of them.
Yes,
they don't wear uniform.
yes.
You won't even realize that they're policewomen.
No, until you are arrested. Until you are arrested, you won't know that
You won't
it's
know.
actually a gallant officer that you've been dealing with. And we've had in the past, we've had cases of the police, especially the CID unit, actually using police women to track criminals and eventually getting them arrested. So there are all kinds of people in the police, people
All kinds.
educated, people, people with good training, trained abroad,
Workers.
and they will not compromise their integrity at any time. I've told people and I've challenged people that when I said it's not that a Nigerian based abroad who was telling me that every Nigerian policeman is corrupt, I said it's a lie. That I know someone who passed through the police whom you could never bribe, and you cannot give a woman to him, which is another form of bribe. And we've talked about him here. No one has come out. Female Adeoye. He rose to the rank of AIG and he headed the Federal SARS. Everyone talks about him as being a very honest, diligent and incorruptible. That's the Babatola and his wife. Incorruptible officer. There are many like that in the police.
They don't have to be senior officers.
Yes.
Mid-level officers like this, and they are really doing their job. And
So it's a happy day for them and their families that they've been rewarded for hard work.
You know, Dutola is a lawyer.
Yes.
He's a lawyer. I've known her even before she joined the police, but this is the first time I'm seeing her in uniform.
really,
Yeah,
Yes.
first
They
time.
don't have to
I've
wear
known her
uniform.
for so many years.
They don't have
More
to
than
wear
10
uniform
years.
for the
And
work that they do.
They do
she
good
should be
work.
very young.
Yes.
I can see that with the mother.
You won't even know who is older between you.
Who is older among the two of them?
Yeah,
The mother too looks good.
Went through everything. That's nice.
The mother is too stable.
Yes. Everybody's so marketable. We say congratulations to this lot, and we encourage other men, of the Nigerian police that force, that we continue to do us proud as much as we can. We will continue to make this a spotlight. It's not when they
not only scandals
step out
that
of
we're
line that
interested
we always want to bring
And
them
if there
down.
are policemen who are doing very well, I've heard
Yes,
about
yes.
a policeman who is very good at tracking criminals.
Yes.
I'm still getting some facts about it.
Yes.
You
And
know?
if you don't forget, during the NSAS time, there are some DPO that in their community surrounded around their police station that
was
you will
the-
not bring this police station down.
Yes.
That because this
That's
person is a good man.
the Fege.
I know of the one
that
in
happened in
Oba too.
Anambra State. It provided water supply for the area,
community.
for the community. And when these people came, they said, no, this is not where you born. You won't burn this place.
fought
People
one.
stood
They fought
firm
one,
that it's not going to happen. So the way the policeman relates with even the people in this area of operation
yes.
can also help in crime control. Because the people
They cooperate with him.
will cooperate with you, and they will make sure that you don't fail. That was evident in Anambra with that DPO. Said, no, you can't burn because of this man. It's not going to happen. So we need to continue to encourage such people. As I told the AIG, the press, it's not as if we hate them.
No. This is our responsibility now.
Yes.
Bring these people to spotlight
They
now.
do great things. And
Yes.
I need to also remind the IG that there were people policemen who behaved gallantly during the NSAS.
Yes.
They defended their stations, ensured that their stations were not
They don't be
burned
compensated
down.
or promoted.
Any of them who has not been compensated
Or
who are not
promoted.
promoted, since you have promoted some, you need to reach out, working with the police secretary and ensure that all of them get the reward that they deserve. Because if, for example, if they were to set ablaze panty, do you know how many criminals they would have released? Because that's the heartbeat of police operations in Lagos.
Some paid the ultimate price.
Yes.
Some died.
That's the nature of the job sometimes.
All right, moving on now. Let's begin with developmental issues as Taraba state government continues to prioritize the welfare of citizens and civil servants in the states. Governor Darius Ishaku has promised to distribute more than 1,000 housing units to newly employed 3,000 teachers who will repay over 15 years. Governor Ishaku made this promise while inspecting the housing projects tagged Ishaku Garden. Here is the story, filed by TVC News Owolabi Adenusi.
The Ishaku's government has prioritized the welfare of Taraba civil servants. He is working around the clock to build houses for civil servants. This ongoing construction contains over 1,000 housing units being constructed in batches. Governor Ishaku undertakes an inspection of the project, promising that the batch A will be inaugurated soon and handed over to civil servants.
We are going to commission the first phase, maybe next month, maximum next month. That is where we are standing now on the other place. This side on the right is virtually finished. It's this light and water that we're actually waiting for, so that some people can move in. But I assure you that this phase 1 and 2 will be finished before the expiration of our period. Maybe the phase 3, 4, which is going to come further down there, may take a little time. But the funding is actually the problem. So we're trying to finish 1 and 2 so that people can move in, particularly the young civil servants that have lifted the ban of employment. They will be engaged and they'll be given form to fill, so that in 10, 15 years they already own a home they can call their own, and that will reduce the pressure on them, and that will go to reduce the corruption as overall. Because when you have a home, you have less pressure to be worrying yourself about demanding for more and more money. So I think this is a good step forward.
Meanwhile, retired civil servants have admitted that no government has been as concerned about their plight as the present administration. They thank the governor for prompt payment of pensioners and monthly salaries of civil servants. Speaking with journalists in Jalingo, a former state high court judge, Justice Emmanuel Garba, and other retirees, says life after retirement is now easier due to the labor-friendly policy of the Ishaku's administration.
I retired as a High Court Judge of Taraba State Judiciary on the 30th of November 2021. And by God's grace and the grace of the government, December I was paid my pension. Pension in full.
We are grateful to our governor, for he has been paying our pension promptly. People saying the governor is owing us pension.
The governor has been paying our pension.
Up to date. Other top government officials shed light on how they were able to weather the storm.
I would like to say that when I assumed office on the 3rd of December 2019, many civil servants have retired, and they do this almost on a daily basis. And I want to say that immediately a civil servant retires and prepares his or her documents, the person is enrolled and is paid the following month. Payments of pensions in Taraba State are up to date.
Because it is expected that 6 months, you have to give 6 months notice. This 6 months notice to prepare you, immediately your PRC, they are removing your PRC as a civil servant. You will just be enrolled in pension. But when you don't process it in the good time, that is where you see some people, they will not be captured immediately that month. Definitely then till the next month. Depends on whenever you bring your papers.
The local government retirees, the pensioners on payroll, as we are talking with you now, over 3,000 of them have been paid their pension up to date, have been paid their pension. Even as we are talking today, we are on the process of paying them the one of last month.
If the Ishaku's government Ms. Good is pledged over the housing unit. It will have written his name in gold as labor friendly.
Julie, there's this tendency that when it gets to 1 year to the election like this, and people will say that governance will stop, that development will stop and everything. And ours is to charge, these people in government that no, not necessarily, that this is the time to finish strong, and this is the time to leave a legacy. And when you look at what the Governor Daros Ishaku is doing, this is novel. And you picking teachers.
Yes.
Just picking teachers and saying that 3,000 teachers and 1,000 housing units, and you have the opportunity to pay over 15 years.
Which is a very, very convenient.
15 years. Mortgage. That's what mortgage is about.
Mortgage in our country, if it's from a commercial bank, within 5 years you must pay up, and it's subject to interest.
Yeah.
Because I won't say I'm a victim. My current house was obtained through mortgage. At the point, interest was 21%. So
before you could finish paying,
man,
you'll be paying like what you'll be paying like what you actually took as interest.
Yes. That's the thing. It's so tough because they are going to subject you to payment of interest, and that payment of interest is subject to the prevailing economic.
At a point in time, the interest we almost supersede.
Of course, that's usually the case. That's usually the case. So, but in the case of these guys, that's not going to be the case. They will deduct over 15 years, no interest. So if you walk up to one of the banks and you want to buy a house, you will realize how significant what this governor has done.
And when will a teacher be able to raise something to
own a house,
own a beautiful house like this? A teacher.
Well, it's been a problem with us over time.
I think my producer should be able to show the fine ones, the one that have been commissioned, finished.
What we've seen over time, usually with projects like this, have always been it's an everybody thing, and then you see it being hijacked.
Yes.
Which we have witnessed in so many cases. Is the haves who will take it over and be letting it out to the have-nots. And that's usually the problem. But in this case, it's going directly to the beneficiary. But one of the things the governor must take notice, he should finish this project before
he should finish the project.
Because if he doesn't finish allocating these houses,
he has over 400 days in office.
If he doesn't finish it, then I'm not sure if it won't be hijacked. Because this is beautiful.
It's not going to be abandoned.
Even if the next government may even complete it, but will it go?
But it could go to the
right people.
Yes.
This is beautiful.
Level 15 officers.
And unfortunately, what you now see,
some of them will now resell.
Yes, they will now exactly.
It's not becoming a GRA for the exclusive.
And this is nice.
So he has to.
It's a community on its own now.
Yes.
It's a community on its own.
Yes. I entered some of those buildings. I can tell you the finishing, the toilets. Everything just beautiful, and it's just, it makes one happy that the teachers, the lowest of the low in the civil service, are being remembered. The governor must just finish this, and there will be a bank within the premises as well as a fire station.
And another thing that the second part of the story, what is now becoming a big deal. That's when you have civil servants that have served meritoriously 35 years, it's now becoming very difficult for them to get their payoff.
Well, it's unfortunate.
Some 4-5 years, they are still waiting. Some will die.
How we got
while waiting.
One won't know. But when you talk to some people in the civil service now, that actually forms the basis for corruption. Because people want to settle themselves before leaving. because they don't even know when the peanut. Because when you even hear what some of them get as monthly due, as their payoff, you are sad. It's not something, some queue in the sun for as low as 10,000-15,000 naira a month.
Biometrics,
and then you keep asking them to come back every month to come and do biometrics, to come and say I'm alive.
Some even collapsed and died. There was one, I think in your state, as he go to the bank, parked his car, he just died right there. He didn't come out of the car. You know, his head just hung on the car steering like that. That was it. What they go through is just unbelievable. People have served the country diligently. You made them to travel for some shitty biometric processes that are never ending.
Never.
You know, it's just
continuous.
I remember that when my mom retired, she had to go to Abuja. She stays in Ilesha in Osun State. She had to go to Abuja 3, 4, 5 times.
All the way.
Over what?
Yes. Even my mom. And you know, this our parents. If you try to discourage them, she will say no. She can even get angry with you.
Yes.
Because she sees it as a...
yes.
She doesn't mind going as many times
I told my mom at some point, I said,
10,000,
I told her, you fly to Abuja, you stay in the hotel. Can't we pay you this money you are going to go? I said, no. It's my sweat. No. It's my money. Because at some point I told her to leave village and come to Lagos because of the bad nature of the road and fly. You know?
All right. On the 26th of January 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari bowed to clamor for the removal of the then service chiefs over poor performance. 1 year after, the scorecards of three of them, that's the Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, the Chief of Air Staff, that's Air Marshal Isiaku Oladayo Amao, and the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Awal Zubeiru Gambo, are up for scrutiny and insecurity across the country rages on. As the service chiefs fight on 1 year after, except the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, who assumed office after the death of his predecessor in May 2021. The euphoria that greeted their appointment appears to have died down, but expectations are still high in the face of change of tactics by bandits and terrorists. Yes, for close to we clamored, and we got the removal of service chiefs. We got those service chiefs removed, and we remember the days of General Burate, you know, and we felt that they've overstayed their welcome as the insecurity across the country took another dimension. But there came new service chiefs, and we felt that yes, they should be able to rise up to the challenge. And 1 year down the line, Babajide, in your own assessment, how will you assess these people? And I like to say that the Chief of Defense Staff has taken charge effectively ever since that time. We didn't have a dysfunctional structure that we know that this is the arrowhead. And Irabo had his charisma and everything, has been able to communicate effectively. But how have they performed, talking in terms of fighting insurgency?
From my own observation, if I'm to simply say the truth, in the Northeast, we have made significant progress. There's no doubt about it. I was there. I spent Christmas there. I was with the Air Force. I was with the Army for days, for hours. We could start moving, and we could be on it for 5 non-stop hours. And after that, we'll go elsewhere and still work for like 3 hours. So it was a grueling Christmas for me.
On the spot assessment,
yes,
not
because
that
I needed to see progress. I needed to be able to say, yes, this is what I've done. I'm not the person that a press secretary or a military
public relations
public will say, oh yeah, this is, go and use this. No, now we're past that stage. We are not cop reporters. We want to see things for ourselves. Whatever we say with our mouth or whatever we publish as journalists of repute, we should be able to defend. We should know that our honor, that whatever emanates from us, people will judge us by what has come from us. That's why I go to that length. I can tell you that in the northeast we have made progress. It's not easy for Boko Haram or ISWAP or whatever they call themselves. I prefer to still call them Boko Haram because Boko Haram is still active. After the death of Shekau, they found a way to regroup, and some of the deadly attacks that we are hearing are actually by the remnants of Boko Haram, you know, especially in Borno South, all those. So to move around freely the way they used to, that you move from one community to another and then go and attack a super camp. They know they can't they can't move around. They've been denied that liberty to move around. Difficult. No, because there are now so many platforms that can track them as they are moving and will take them out. They don't have. If you check now, the number of attacks on military formations, on troops moving, the number of ambushes, because they've killed far more troops through ambushes than even direct military confrontation. The level of attacks have gone down. It is because they are being degraded. We have achieved more precision attacks now than before because there are now more equipment that can deliver their munitions with precision, including the multi-role aircraft, the Tucano jet. So they too, bearing that in mind, what they've now chosen to do is, okay, we can lob missiles, rockets. We can lob rockets into civilian areas. They did that on the day the president was visiting, and they succeeded in killing people. And it's those mobile launchers that the Air Force must constantly go after. Unfortunately, it's difficult because they could even mount it on something that looks like a stick or the back of a truck or a fire and then run away. Just the same way that mobile launchers gave American troops so much problem during the first Gulf War. So we are seeing that now because they know that they've been reduced, their capacity has been reduced. But there is still a lot of work to do in Borno South. Places like Damboa, places like Biu, you can see attacks are still going on in those areas, and what is it called? Even Chibok and Askira Uba. So if we can secure those areas the same way we have secured Borno Central and other places and Borno North, then their days are numbered. I'm not saying that the war is now close to being over. Nobody who understands the nature of asymmetric warfare will talk like that. But we've made progress over there. Where we need to make similar progress is in the northwest, Zamfara, Katsina, and even Sokoto and Kebbi.
So where banditry,
we have not done well in that area. And Naija, we have not done well in that area at all. So in those areas at all, we need to focus on that. Victory will surely be ours in the northeast, but we should realize that there are other areas as well.
Doctor, now when you want to, because Jide by nature, if you understand him, you will know that he's not always generous with praises. By the time you went and I was able to see the reports and I saw everything, I was convinced that yes, the federal government, they are doing significantly well when it comes to degradation of Boko Haram.
Well,
we can't see the same thing to the northeast, to the northwest, sorry, where the bandits are emboldened by the day.
Yeah, well, when you go by even the reports in the media, you'll see that we don't get too many of such negative reports again. That is successful attacks in the northeast. Now we must also pay attention to what the difference is between what is happening with our military in the northeast and what is happening in the northwest. When you look at the northeast, there has been consistent and formidable structure tackling Boko Haram, ostensibly because they have been designated as terrorists. Number two is that in the northwest, which is also a huge area, you have about 5 states with huge landmass, especially Naija, Kaduna, and Zamfara. In the northeast, our military they've succeeded in cutting off almost to none attacks in Nadamawa and Yobe. Like Wiki said, it is now limited to only one senatorial district, which is the southern Borno, that maybe once in a while they're able to succeed. So what have they done over time? From reports, some of these people who are their legmen, they've moved to the northwest, especially into Niger State. That's why it's easy for them. You hear that people on 100 motorcycles, they invade one village. So it shows you that the kind of thing that went on in the northeast is being replicated in the northwest now. One of the suggestions the Kaduna State Governor, Nasir El-Rufai, made was for the same kind of military structure in the northeast to be replicated in the northwest and Niger State. Because Niger State shares boundary with Kaduna. It shares also with Kebbi, and I think also along with Zamfara. So when you look at that, there is a need for a superstructure that can contain this. That is why it's easy for them to go to overrun some camps owned by the police and the army. Easy, because they are more in number. So it tells us that we now need to do more in terms of equipment and personnel in the northwest. I think when that is done, it's going to be easier, especially with the synergy that we have seen within the military.
The synergy is commendable.
It's great.
I even witnessed myself. In the past, they used to do separate parties, end of year parties.
End of year parties, yes.
But this time around, we saw a service chief attend service chief men, party men for the Air Force, and vice versa. It was not like that before.
It wasn't.
And this kind of thing impacts positively on the troops, because the troops know that their bosses are on the same
together.
page. So they know that they have to also synergize so that we can have progress.
All right, a retired Air Force officer, Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, joins us via Zoom for more insights on this issue. Thank you for joining us, Captain.
Group Captain.
Group Captain, please. Good morning.
Group Captain.
Now,
there's a big difference, huh?
I know. Forgive us. Forgive some of us who do not know these things. Thank you.
It's okay.
Thank you. We are looking at this service is 1 year after. What, in your view, are the big takeaways since these service chiefs came on board. What are the visible signs of progress that you can see?
Okay, thank you very much. First, I would like to set the caveat that whatever a military commander achieves or fails to achieve is a function of what the political leaders give him in terms of men, equipment. I could go as much as to say, within these variables, what the field commander or the service chief can do to achieve is reduced to about 30%. The 70% are extraneous factors that are not within his control. They are up to the political masters to ensure that he has enough men and equipment. That is the first caveat I want to say. The second one I would like to say, again, is that if you look since the Boko Haram insurgency, looking at this thing, just like Babajide said, you have to look at it in two dimensions. On the counter-insurgency in the northeast, there are parameters we can look to know whether there has been some progress or not. And then you come back to the banditry that is ravaging the northwest. Now, on the counter-insurgency, since the fight started as far back as May, I think April 2011, that was during the regime of Yar'Adua, Jonathan. There have been think tanks that have been minutely keeping track of all that is happening in the northeast, even though unfortunately they are not Nigerian think tanks. But in making any comment, it's always good to look at these records since they have taken pains to keep them. They keep monthly and yearly figures. When you say a war is progressing or not, first of all, peace is about protecting of lives of people. That is, I think, the most important thing. So you have to look at it in terms of lives lost. Are lives lost getting more or getting less? If they're getting less, we have to count that as progress. Maybe the next index you have to look at, maybe area control. Is area control in hand of insurgencies reducing or increasing? Again, that will give you another this. So let me look at the most important factor. Right from the beginning, during the regime of Jonathan late Yar'Adua, the monthly figures of people killed as a result of the insurgency in the northeast. If you look at the monthly figures, the worst month, I look at the worst figures throughout the years. The worst month was the month of March 2014, in which a total of 3,456 people were killed as a result of the insurgency. Again, down the line, which sometimes may be very difficult for a non-discerning person to know, the truth is that we have been having a reduction in this number of people killed. The set of service chiefs that Jonathan brought, their worst figure was that of March 2014, in which 3,450 people were killed. If you remember, President Buhari inherited those people and then he changed them. Up to the time he changed them, that 3,450 was the worst monthly figure. Then we come to the set of service chiefs that Buhari appointed himself, the new one. That is Buradai, Sadiq, and Ibas, and Olori Shakil. Their worst monthly figure in terms of deaths recorded was in April 2020, in which it was recorded 1,789. So definitely you can see, if you are looking at that, the service they replaced that had a worst figure of 3,400, their own is 1,700. Certainly, again, there's an improvement. Now, we come to this current service chiefs that came in January 2021. Since they came, they were lucky, but you have to look at the figures. Since they came, they were able to keep down high casualty attacks by Boko Haram. And consequently, also, their monthly loss in terms of people's life has also dropped considerably. Since they came, I think the worst attack they suffered was the Minok attack of 10 to 5 April 2021, in which, ISWAP camouflaged as Nigerian soldiers and entered a military camp, in which 33 soldiers were killed. That is the worst. When you look at their monthly rate of losses, from the 1,789, the worst they inherited from the previous set of service chiefs, their worst month was April 2021, in which they lost 1,037 lives under their watch. So from 1,700, we moved down to 1,037 or 1,059 if you look at the figures of June 2021. So certainly They too, within this 1 year, they have been able to bring down the number of lost lives in the Northeast as we used to know it. So we could chalk that up as a progress. Another index you might look at, again, I think Babajide has listened to it, the number of incidents or the number of attacks. You know, the permissiveness of the battlefield is what will allow Boko Haram or ISWAP or whatever group to launch attacks. The higher the attacks, it shows they are having more permissiveness within the issue. When we look back at the figures, in 2015, we are recording up to 52 attacks by Boko Haram. 2015, that is, you can join the Jonathan era time and the first set of service chiefs. By the time these service chiefs were brought in January 2021, the highest monthly attacks by Boko Haram was counted as 19. When I checked the figures as of December, because we're in January, February, we cannot count that. December 2021, we can say roughly 1 year after they come, they have brought back that number of incidents from 19 to 10, almost having the number of Boko Haram attacks that are recorded. So, like I said, if Boko Haram are carrying out less attacks, it means they are under pressure because the more attacks they have. So, when I look, generally, in terms of casualties, in terms of number of incidents, or the number of attacks that Boko Haram is able to launch, and even in terms of the number per attack, all these indices have brought down. However, we must continue to warn that the war has not yet been won. But certainly these indices will indicate that we have progress. But you see, people tend to forget, in making any judgment, you have to look backwards and then come forward. If tomorrow they said Boko Haram attacked place and killed 30, if you don't go back and look at these figures, you may not be able to know whether they have been successful or not. But again, I sound the caution. We are not yet out of the woods. Now, when we move to the other part of the country, that's as far as Northeast is concerned, and the Boko Haram insurgency. Again, I align with what the guest and all the crew there said, that it is in the area of this fight against banditry that honestly we're having the greatest challenge. Because despite the fact that once in a while through coordinated ground and air attacks, we hear bandits hit here, bandits hit there, but the reality of the ground is that the bandits have not stopped attacking. In fact, sometimes in the same state where an airstrike or a land component attack happened, you hear the following day that these same bandits have entered the village again and abducted people. So this is the area.
Now, what I'm saying there is that you are a retired air officer, and I know that the Nigerian Air Force, they've been quite active in this war. So, looking at their intervention against bandits in Zamfara, Katsina State, and Naija State, will you say they've done enough to try to, because the advantage we have against these people is air power, definitely?
Yes, definitely. Again, there is an increased activity and there are increased success in the use of air power against the bandits. But again, like I always say, there is a limit to what air power can achieve in fighting banditry. Whatever air power achieves must be supplemented by a follow-up action by the ground forces, and this is, I think, where we're having the problem. I think we have problem of accessing the inner recesses of the forests where these bandits are. I want to believe, and this is my personal opinion, these bandits have a really stronghold in the inner that are not accessible by the kind of vehicles or the kind of movement that our land forces are actually doing. Some of these areas in Zamfara, if you ask the locals, they are surrounded by seasonal rivers, streams. In that, even the villages, there are villages that are cut off completely once rainy season, sets in. These bandits are aware. I would like to say most of the hits are either when they come out into the built-up areas to carry out some attack. That's when our forces have a chance to hit them, or when sometimes we are lucky to identify a location within the distance and then our air force attack them. But still, I think the bandits are very comfortable in knowing that once they withdraw into those inner recesses, they can sleep with their eyes closed until our forces discover them. So, to my own thinking, I think the problem of now is reaching the inner recesses. The military hierarchy have to think How do we enter those inner recesses? Because, like I said, you could hit a place by air, but you need to dominate that area as well to ensure that they don't, don't come back. They don't. And again, even the air power we're using, the commanders are always again, aware of the possibility of hitting villagers and causing collateral damage. So even then, the air power cannot be used completely free. We still have to use it. So the combination of air power and ground forces reaching those inner recesses of the forest is very, very important. Now is the issue of mobility assets. We have to start thinking. Maybe the military top brass, they have to think of how do we insert troops? Is it through helicopters, by upselling, dropping troops into those areas that cannot be entered by the kind of vehicles the Toyota vehicles? They cannot access some of those areas. They cannot. So I think this is where we are having the problem as far as the bandits are concerned.
Good Captain Siddiq, finally, in what way would you say the synergy between the services and between the service chiefs have helped us in this war?
Certainly, the problem with the military is that even in advanced militaries, when you check their history backwards, there's always this inter-service rivalry. It's always inter-service rivalry. But, the policy makers, that is both the civilian and the military top leaders, I think we have learned the hard way that modern warfare all over the world, there is no one service that can do it. And the only way you can get, optimal result is by jointness.
Yes.
Where the Air Force has comparative advantage, you use the Air Force. Where the land forces have comparative advantage, you use land forces. Where the maritime company has comparative advantage, you have to use it. They have to fight together. Certainly, there are areas where it's Air Force that will give you the maximum impact. There are areas where it is the land army that will give you comfort. In this aspect, we don't have a maritime warfare, but in an extended environment, you may have areas where it is, the maritime. And then there are areas where the three have to come together. So I think I have to acknowledge that the service chiefs, learning from experience or learning the hard way on their own, have seen that there is no way that services can be going differently. But again, just like, the famous political leader who said, war is too important to be left with the general. I want to call on the political leaders in the executive and the legislative branches. They have to do their oversight of the military. Where the military does the right thing as they are doing now, okay, you leave them. Where they refuse to form and do a collaborative decision, the political leaders should speak. They should put them on the line. That's how it should be. Because only through this synergy that we can actually, have the optimal results that we need. So kudos to them for bringing themselves together. But the political leaders in both the executive and the legislative branches, they should put their eye. That is why we are lucky to have a CNC who is a former general, a minister of defense who is a former general. But this is democracy. It will not always be so. It may be a pure civilian who is a president. It may be a pure civilian who is the minister of defense. But they have to have the skills. If they don't have the skills themselves, they have to find people that will help them how to really put the military on check.
Retired Air Force officer.
It is not. It's not something that.
Thank you so much, retired Air Force officer. That's Group Captain Siddiq Shehu. Thank you so much for your intervention. Thank you. We could go on and on and on, but thank you for this, your intervention. Jide, looking at this holistically, we know that, 2 years, we will still be back to still do assessment on this guys.
Definitely. Because we need to talk about the individual services.
Yes.
Navy, Air Force.
Yes.
And
the chief of army staff is not doing badly too.
That's why I'm saying that we need to break it down.
Sometimes
time is not on our side, so but in the course of the week we can look at them individually.
One by one. Dotun.
Yeah, they've done well. Okay. They should up the tempo.
Okay. Up the tempo. All right. We'll take this break. When we come back, we'll talk more. It's still your journalist hangout on Sunday. Remember, you're still right on time. It's going to be 120 minutes. Please don't go away. Stay with us. If you are just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout on Sunday, and you are just right on time. We're reaching you live from TVC News here in Lagos. I have Babajide Kolade Otitoju in-house and Dotun Oladipo also in-house. Now, it appears the more our society progresses, the more debased it becomes. Rising cases of ritual killings is suffice for such arguments. Nigerians were outraged when the news broke that a teenager conspired with his friend to kill his 20-year-old girlfriend, Sophia Okeowo, in Abeokuta on the 28th of January. An Abeokuta magistrate court has reminded the 4 teenagers, Balogun Muskatin, 20, Majakodumi Saliuddin, 18, Abdulgafar Lukman, 19, and Waris Oladende, 18, in prison for alleged murder after they were arraigned on a 2-count charge of conspiracy and murder. There's this quest, Dr. Let me start from you here now. There's this quest to, as we have banditry in the north, that's a big problem among the youths and everything. The problem here in the south, if it's not this, if you don't have touts, if they're not touts on the road, they end up being Yahoo boys, and these Yahoo boys, they're fast becoming something else. They now call them Yahoo Plus. Yep. It is alarming. Go to Elisha, go to Akure, go to all parts of the southwest. You will see some guys, they are dressing. The way you see them, you will know that immediately that these are Yahoo boys.
Well, unfortunately, that's what we have seemingly bequeathed to the younger generations. Because somehow we got to this level where morals suddenly nosedived.
Gets rich quick.
I was reading a story of a journalist before I came here. He said when he was in Abeokuta at the meteorological school there, he went to his mother back home and said, Mama, I want to borrow, I want to take a loan to buy a motorcycle. The mother told him, as an adult, level 4 in school, is that the next thing? Then when he started working in Champion, after a few years, he put money together, bought a car, and took the car home. And said, Mama, I've bought a car. And I said, okay, yeah, leave the car here, come. How much do you earn? He said so and so. So how did you put this money together? I now told her how.
Start making arithmetic, calculating.
He got the money for the car. And I said, see, me, I'm not satisfied though. Go to your elder sister, go and tell her the same story. If she's satisfied, you can come and drive the car.
There's a fair hold.
So, but now you have even parents who are telling their children at age 20, age 22, that your mates are already feeding their parents.
Putting them under pressure.
Putting them under pressure. And then they see them with cars, they see them living in big houses, and they are not asking questions. And then also, the other side of the social media is what we are saying. Because these boys, the boy who was the arrowhead was asked, how did you know that when you cut off somebody's head and you burn it inside a pot with certain things, it will make you rich? He said he read it on Facebook. That all he did was to go to Facebook to Google money ritual, and it came up. So we need to look at those two issues critically. To what use do our youths put the social media? Some only look for the negative things. They don't know that there are thousands of legitimate ways in which you can make money from the social media. And also, what are we teaching our children? Because it's likely going to get worse the way we are, especially because of the economic situation.
Judy? It's very bad now.
It's terrible. It's a national calamity. I was in Taraba in November, and I can tell you that ritual killings have become a big problem in Taraba. For anybody,
Taraba?
Yes, for people who are resident there, it's a big problem. It's not limited to the southwest. In Edo State, it's a very big problem. In the southeast, it's already a problem.
Abia State is
the boy who killed his girlfriend, was a student now. The girlfriend was a student of Unijos. They were both resident in Jos.
In Jos, yes. And then he ran away to his village in Nasarawa.
The truth is, it's a national problem, and we have to come up with laws that will punish severely people involved in advanced fee fraud and people involved in money-making rituals. The police must be told to be more professional than they are now. And then, of course, we know that morals, many parents don't even teach moral rectitude anymore. They don't care. They will even be the ones to tell the child that, look, can't you see that this one bought a car for his parents? So those children want to be like those who freely flaunt their wealth. When people flaunt their wealth, those people become their role models.
Yes,
they want to be like them. And you see, and where do they spend this money? Many times, nightclubs and all that.
They leave their home.
There is the problem of a website. Of one group on Facebook that already has 99,000 members. It's a private group, so you really cannot access it except you are part of them. Now, the recipe with which these boys came up with the idea to cut off that girl's head, it was on Facebook. So now, who regulates these people?
That kind of content.
Yes, that kind of content. Who does that? When you also look at our movies, before you watch 6 Nigerian Yoruba movies, especially, you are going to see at least 2 of them. Out of 6, you will see at least 2 of them where a babalawo is teaching. He's trying to tell people that you can make money by taking people's lives and all that. How do we get rid of these irresponsible, useless babalawos? Herbalists who are
producers, scriptwriters.
I don't know why people can't be creative enough. It does not even reflect the way we are. The average Nigerian doesn't simply go out. Let the movies show who we are. Going and portraying us as people who believe in money-making rituals. That's not who we are. So something has to be done. What is the Video Censors Board doing? If we can allow people to come up with this kind of movies
to influence people.
Some of those movies, the problem, most movies are rated 18. But these days, people can watch them on their phones. So even underage kids can watch those movies on their phones. The things that we couldn't see before, we can now see using our phones. So in the Southwest, I'm worried that a lot of the people that you hear they are missing, a lot of the people, especially when they hijack a whole bus, those ones are not kidnappers. They do not get in touch with families of the victims to ask for ransom. All they do is kill those people and harvest their organs.
To the shrine.
They kill them and harvest their organs. That's why we have to deal with this problem. It's a national problem, and it's spreading. Look at the case of the man in Zamfara who was arrested by the police, who said he kills people and eats their flesh. So he's ready to buy even body parts just to satisfy his hunger for human flesh. So when we realize that this is a national problem, then we must come out with the right laws to address this problem. We simply don't punish iniquity in our country. We don't punish.
There's this case for money. If you don't have money, you are nothing.
That's what we said about those parents.
Money.
Parents who your guys will say, your child is not a washerman. You know,
and he's bringing
different clothes home. You should know that he must have stolen those clothes. These days, people don't care. People steal public funds. We hail them. They are the people that we treat like human beings. The people who believe in hard work, we do not reward hard work. We do not reward honesty. We do not reward being truthful. So everyone wants to be like. You will see people who cannot defend their source of wealth. We see people live lives of affluence and comfort. Nobody asks questions about, how did this guy become rich? How did he get here? Nobody asks. But the society will go and give them big traditional titles.
Oh, of course.
So why won't young people want to be like them? The average young man now, once he steps out of school, is thinking of becoming a Yahoo boy. That is if he was not even a Yahoo boy. That's if he was not even a Yahoo boy right from school.
Exactly.
You know,
that's the boy that has to say, I want to be a Yahoo boy. Very small boy.
Because he wants to be comfortable. He wants to spend money. He wants to have private jet, like Hush Puppy and the rest of them.
You watched the video of those 3 young boys who said they were from Delta State but came to Edo State to learn Yahoo.
Yes,
and the youngest one who was 14 was saying, we have not come here to learn Yahoo Plus. So how did you know there is one called Yahoo Plus?
That was when they used juju and all that.
That's the issue, because a lot of these things, we see them freely. There is a series on TV now where you have children of the rich. All you see them do is sit down, discuss about boyfriends, drive around town with security guards, doing nothing.
Flaunt their wealth.
So how do you encourage other people to work when you can see these children, what they are doing? We are not passing across the right messages. And like BKO said, this is not limited to just the Southwest. It's just everywhere.
It's everywhere.
People who want to get rich quick. People who have not earned any money, but who want to ride big cars.
Because they believe that that's the way they will be recognized.
That's where they will be recognized.
There was a wedding.
You know?
There was a wedding in Akute where an alpha, you know, they come, do their that, and people give them money. And he was swearing at people who used to abuse Yahoo boys. Because those boys came and dropped hefty money for them. So because they dropped money for you. The society, we've lost any sense of moral rectitude in our country.
Completely.
Even you see in parties, in churches, the way they spend money and everything. But the bottom line is that these things, we continue to hear it. And where should we start from? Is it from schools?
Everywhere.
From the home.
Because we owe these children.
We are not bringing up children the right way anymore.
Exactly.
Even those songs that they used to sing in those days, what's it called? That we used to memorize.
Okay.
All those things. Yes.
But now
the Yahoo boys himself imagines that what he's doing is work.
He doesn't. It's collective reparation.
Yes,
you know, and this mentality that the white people came here to defraud, they are collecting reparation.
A lot of their victims are not white people.
They are not.
They dupe Nigerians. The people that they are beheading and harvesting their parts, are they white people? They are Nigerians. So when I hear it's just a very silly thing to say.
If you don't have money, hide your face in shame.
Those are the kind of things.
No, the songs that people can't sing in public before.
They sing.
That's what this boy sings now. That's what this boy sings.
And it's very popular.
Yes. You know, Ale Koko Ale. They will now TV radio station when they want to play, they will not. They will mute that area. How much in Bagbamu she say? And you want an album with that?
It will not go through the census board.
No, not the.
I don't understand. Because how he gets on, we don't know. I have joining us is Jide Johnson, a public affairs analyst and a seasoned journalist. JJ.
It's a pleasure to be with you, my brother.
Our bearded friend.
I thank you, my brother. Jide. It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm still coming to Akute. I've told you that I'm still coming to Akute.
Okay, at Yasandra's place, have you?
Exactly. For the committee of elders.
Okay.
Jide, you're a lecturer. You see these people grow. And over time, you lecture journalism and I don't know, maybe you've encountered some Yahoo boys in your school as students.
What do you tell them?
It's a reflection of what I tell people is that whatever you think, you listen to in music, is a reflection of what happened in the larger society. Now, when you have a society whereby we have lost our value system, whereby we celebrate materialism ahead of academic excellence, integrity, and the rest of it, that's why you have this type of problem that we are having now. And it's not a problem that is peculiar to this particular period in time. It's something which has characterized our society in the past. Jide will recall while we were very, very young, we used to talk about Gomo, betrayal of Gomo, beginning of wisdom for every primary school children in the 70s and in the 80s. In actual sense, when we are leaving school, we leave schools in groups, not as individuals. However, the rise of ritual killing has been on the increase in recent times. And what could be responsible for this? One, people want to get rich as quickly as possible because we respect wealth and we respect good name. You know, Ayo, you and Jide will recall when we were very, very young, if you take a pencil, a Bible that does not belong to you, they take it home, they will beat the hell out of you.
Yes.
Now, we see parents celebrating their children that have no work that they are doing, buying cars, living in houses that they know that they didn't have money to buy for themselves. And that's the sad situation which we have found ourselves. And also, this thing also has a political undertone. It has a political undertone in the sense that when anytime the electoral cycle is coming around the corner, the issue of ritual killing is always on the increase. Just take the record. All you need to do is to go and look into the content of newspaper reports around the electoral cycle and look into the content of news reports around the electoral cycle. So it's a cycle of trying to get rich quick. Trying to get rich quick by having access to political power, or trying to get rich quick by having access to spiritual powers of quick rich kings, which is something which has affected every facet and every aspect of our lives. Now, churches, religious organizations, even celebrate people without knowing what is the source of their wealth. Traditional rulers celebrate people, they give chieftaincy title to people without knowing the source of, and this was not how it used to be in the past. So like you asked, how do we relate to students? That we ask them, if they're a lecturer, they are not far from having their own voice amongst your students, among people that are passed through. It's there in your neighborhood, in your community, in your street. It's all around us. So that's
how do we solve this problem? How do we solve this?
The way we need to solve this problem is very, very simple. Now, we need to strengthen our judicial system. Now, if you are caught stealing money from the national purse, you face the consequences of stealing that money. Two, if you can't explain, you remember, in the past, if people don't know the source of your wealth, they go and report you to the police. But if you go and report a Yahoo boy to the police, what will be the end product? It is the same police that will tell the Yahoo boy, it's your neighbor that has come to report you to us.
We collect cuts from them.
We need to build people's confidence in the judicial system. We need to build security systems. lives in the community. You know everybody that lives in the community. You know everybody that lives in the community. You know everybody. You know the source of their wealth. And anyone whose source of wealth is questionable and is not given recognition in society, is not given recognition in the church, is not given recognition by government. These are some of the ways in which to address some of these problems. We need to identify and identify these people. Let them, for example, there are children that our parents tell us not to play with them. There are families that our parents will tell us don't follow that family. Don't play, I don't want to see you. I don't want to see them. All of this we need to rediscover our old value system. Old value system must remember the son of God. Now people don't think about the son of whom you are. People are thinking of what is the source of your work.
I will thank you.
And these are some of the
Jimmy Johnson, I will thank you. A seasoned lecturer and public affairs analyst, Jide, and this is simple. Some of them will even be given the responsibility or the task of going to a graveyard to go and sleep. There. Some of them
or eat their own excrement.
It's bad.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. And some of them will even go berserk in the process. They just go mad.
Look at the boy who was a video that went viral last year, who went to a roundabout to sleep with a well-known prostitute. I mean, a well-known mad woman in the open.
Roundabout.
Yes.
Yeah.
The video went viral. He slept with that woman. You know, I think, what is all this? They must have told him that, look, if you can successfully do that, you'll become a millionaire.
Yes, once you do it, everybody must see.
Wow. Okay, moving on. In war, women and children are said to be the biggest victims. The decade-long insurgency in Borno State, northeast Nigeria, has taken lasting toll on children. The implications are orphans and out-of-school children. To address the plight of such vulnerable children, the state government built and equipped schools for orphans. In our journalist Hangout weekend special, Babajide Kolade Otitoju visited the schools for the orphans used by the state government to address the out-of-school children syndrome. Let's share the story.
Education is simply defined as the act of imparting knowledge to others and receiving it from someone else. According to South Africa's first black president, the late Nelson Mandela, education is the most powerful weapon to change the world. In the words of Mandela, education helps people to become better citizens and achieve a better society by showing them the difference between good and bad. In the last 6 years, Borno State has made very clear its mission to focus on the education sector. Beginning with the Kashim Shettima regime, Borno State has built many mega schools. The schools were motivated, among others, by the need to address the out-of-school children syndrome, worsened by the Boko Haram insurgency. Such schools include vocational institutions, technical schools, and schools exclusively for the girl child. Governor Babagana Umara Zulum has built tremendously on the legacy left behind by his predecessor, Senator Kashim Shettima. Governor Zulum has executed 194 capital projects in the education sector, encompassing repairs, completion, and fresh building of mega-sized government technical colleges and primary schools in different communities. On the 23rd of December, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurated a host of projects in Borno State. Among them was the Tijani Bolori Memorial School off Mohammed Indimi Road, formerly known as Damboa Road. The school meant for orphans is just as beautiful as some of the similarly purpose-built schools in the state. It has 50 classrooms. It has all the features of a modern school. A sports court with synthetic grass for handball and 5-a-side soccer, and a court for volleyball and badminton.
They arrange it in a way that 7 at this side, then 7 at the back.
See that the tap is running? The new school, the tap is running already. 14 toilets each for boys and girls. It has 6 laboratories, including those of agric, physics, biology, and e-library, as well as clinics. The classrooms have plastic desks made by Borno State Plastic Company, which was revived by Governor Zulum. Commissioner for Education, Engineer Lawan Wakilbe, says building mega schools was desirable as educating a child is a right.
At the peak of the insurgency in 2014, 2015, 2013, 14, 15, 2 million displaced from various communities, 20 out of our 27 local governments taken. 56,000 conservative estimated orphans were in the camp, 49,000 widows, 2 million displaced. Now these are just conservative estimates because they keep on going up. It has lasted for 12 years, and today when you visit any IDP camp, the first thing that stares you glaringly in the face is the large number of children displaced, orphans, and less privileged. Interventions have been done in the camp, but the problem is facilities have to be in place to give them access and mainstream them in addition to retention. If you don't mainstream them, whatever effort that is in the camp is not going to be useful. That is why previous administration also built so many mega schools, and this administration built 21 mega schools, built 432 classrooms in 48 schools, completely rehabilitated 39 schools, and the figure is currently going on and on because as we access communities that are ravaged, education infrastructure is one of the things you need to put in place. So why? The answer is we have more than 56,000 orphans, more than 49,000 widows, and so many people displaced to cater for their education. And education to a child is a right, it's not a privilege.
To boost school enrollment, government has made accessing schools a lot easier by providing bicycles for male students and big buses to convey female students to and from school. The school feeding program also helps a great deal in boosting school enrollment, with no less than 24,000 students currently benefiting from the school feeding program. At the Tijani Bolori Memorial School, 400 students are enrolled currently, made up of 250 girls and 150 boys. Evidence that girl child school enrollment is improving.
Interestingly, when the president came, 400 were enrolled. Out of that 400, it will surprise you that 250 are girls, only 150 are boys. That is where the bicycle will now help to attract more boys to come to school. The girl child has been very enthusiastic to learn in this our society. Girl child enrollment is no longer very much of a problem. Okay. And they seem to be doing very, very well in school. So relatively when we look at it, the percentage is almost balanced, if not more, across the state. Right. Yes.
Musa Buka is the head boy of the school. He is happy to be a student of the school and is extremely delighted that they've been provided tablets to aid learning.
Before, our societies has been left behind in terms of infrastructure, but alhamdulillah, to the leadership of His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Azulum, MNI, the Executive Governor of Borno State, we really appreciate his efforts. All we have to say here is that may Allah grant him the ability to continue leading the people, the great people of Borno State. And we really appreciate the Commissioner of Education, Engineer Lawan Wakilbe, for playing a vital role to see that this event of commissioning has happened successfully. And this is the tablet that is given to us by His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Azulum in order to do our assignment with it, and it contains all the subjects that we are offering in this school. It contains chemistry, biology, physics, and we are also given bicycle Yes, bicycle for those students that are living far from the school, so they can use the bicycle to come to school.
The school's head girl, Zara Mohammed Isa, who hails from Kukawa local government, is grateful to their teachers, whom she credits with taking good care of them as if they were their children.
And I'm appreciating our governor, His Excellency Professor Babagana Umar Zulu. He just built a wonderful school for us. And we have teachers, they have confidence for teaching us. We are so glad and we are so happy to see that. Whenever we come, they're seeing us like the sons and daughters. That's why they're so glad to see us too.
Engineer Wakilbe credits the Zulum administration with building 21 mega schools, building 432 classrooms in 42 schools, and completely rehabilitating 39 schools, putting water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities in 242 schools.
4 more are on the way. We have one in Jere and a 30 classroom mega school in Old Maiduguri. We have one in Mongono, a 60 classroom mega school. We have one in Biu, another 60 classroom mega school. Then we have one in Burate coming up, a 30 classroom mega school.
Wakilbe, who disclosed that 4,000 bicycles have been distributed to students, spoke on the efforts being made to achieve digital literacy in Borno's schools.
We have 1,000 of this now, specially imported for Borno State mega schools. You know, the in thing in education now is digital literacy. So we have provided
to show our gratitude to our First Lady towards our effort in establishing this kind of esteemed school in Borno State, as well as the person of the governor of Borno State, the person of Professor Babagana Umar Zulum for the school feeding.
The Commissioner for Education tells me the next goal is to improve the quality of instruction in the state's public schools.
We have fixed the hardware components, and the natural question is the software, the teachers. The executive governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, recruited 800 teachers, mostly science-based. And they were all picked from the private schools because they were given better condition of service. Now we are addressing the manpower gap. The last study conducted by my office indicates that we need 355 teachers, and we intend to pick the best.
My last port of call was the legendary El Kanemi College of Islamic Theology along Kano Road. Within its premises is the Abdulatif Zabadne Orphanage Foundation. All the students here, 126 male and 80 female, are orphans from the Boko Haram insurgency and killings by bandits in the nation's northwest. Mohammed Adamu Meshela throws more light on the school and the skills imparted on the children.
This is an orphanage foundation. It is established by our noble proprietor in person of Alhaji Muhammad Arif Zabadni. This orphanage is housing about 200 orphans drawn from different states. Some from Borno State, some from Adamawa, Yobe, and even Zamfara State. We're having about 126 male orphans and about 80 or so female orphans.
I'm in the B hostel of the Abdulatif Zabadne Orphanage Foundation here in Maiduguri, which has already given itself a good name in terms of producing some of the best students from this state and this part of the country. Some of the products of the school are already doing well as medical doctors, some of them practicing outside our country. Orphans. The students also had some beautiful handcrafts. These are some of the things that students at this orphanage have produced. As you can see, throw pillows, cardigan, and even jewelry. The happy children made a presentation for me on how the Quran directs that orphans be treated.
وقال رجل مؤمن من آل فرعون يكتم إيمانه أتقتلون رجلا أن يقول ربي الله وقد جاءكم.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is written in the hope that it will be of benefit to individuals, charities and other agencies that help orphans. وقال تعالى أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر. Did he not find you open and give you shelter, so as for the orphan do not oppress? وقال جل شأنه بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين.
I had words of exhortation for the kids after their presentation.
Yes.
Hope you are making progress.
Yes.
I'm happy. I asked him the question, I said, are you behaving well? He said, yes. I'm very happy with you. I'm going to send a gift to you people through your teachers.
Thank you, sir.
For being good girls.
Very good.
And I pray for you that you make it in life, you become great people. You will have a good name in Nigeria. So cooperate with your teachers, be good children, and always pray.
Yes,
always pray.
Yes, inshallah.
And whatever you want, tell Allah, I want this from you. And if you are praying regularly, you don't owe any of the prayers, Allah will answer you and give what you want to you. That is what will happen. Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So
thank you very much, sir.
I want to hear that you people are in this university, that university, and doing well.
Inshallah.
When I come back.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much.
Inshallah.
Judy, I say inshallah to your prayer too. So inshallah to your prayer. It's so moving that the victims of this war, the orphanage, the Boko Haram guys killed their parents, and the future looks bleak. But I'm sure that because he lives, we can face tomorrow.
Yes,
God
it's difficult. The children are very brilliant and very, very disciplined. You know, when I entered the hostel, everywhere was
very
extremely clean.
The atmosphere.
They laid their beds, you know, and you just tell yourself that, look,
quite pathetic.
I mean, I was struggling to push back tears because I told myself, if I shed tears before these children, it will be very bad. The only time I shed tears on this program was about Borno State. I think in 2017 also. You know, I didn't want to do it. You know, but at the end of the day, I felt okay. I needed to raise their
to encourage them.
Yeah, encourage them. So I said, okay, I'm going to send a gift. And as I was leaving, they were happy. They were even some of them were screaming TVC. You know, I was up. I looked back. So these people, in spite of what they've been through.
You can still watch
They can watch TV. They know what TVC is and all that. So it's
even the Ministry of Education. Look at the
Borno State is not only building some very beautiful schools. Some of the best schools
I don't know.
can see in our country. Some of them look like Senate buildings of universities.
I'm telling you,
they are also trying to improve digital literacy. So the Commissioner for Information, Education, gave me this so that I could at least display it. So it's unopened. It's unopened. Now people can have an idea.
Ministry of Education, Borno State, at mega schools. Oh. Oops.
You can see.
Sealed. I think the chargers, you have chargers there.
Chargers and everything.
Okay. Let me try. Oh, well sealed though. It's nice. So it's like a tablet.
Yes.
Wow.
And they are the major subjects: biology, physics, mathematics, chemistry. They are all
everything downloaded.
Yeah, they are already embedded. You know. Okay. So the students, it will help the students. These orphans, so you can imagine an orphan who had never seen this kind of thing. He now has a copy. Hopefully they will be able to take very good care of them, you know. So
Professor Babagana Zulum featured assured, and we have to commend the First Lady. I think
yes, the First Lady is passionate about education for the guest child. So I'm not surprised that that beautiful school was built, and Alhaji Idris, the Commissioner for Education in Yobe State, worked so hard to put that school together.
Well, let me commend BKO for this wonderful job, and also TVC for allowing this to happen. These are the kind of things we need to be saying, instead of all these movies that encourage
and not to come here and abuse government every day. What this is not doing well. Today we've shown you Taraba State. Today we've shown you what is happening.
Because when you look at the figures, they don't really add up. Except we have interventions like this, we are not going to get there. In 2017 figure shows that Nigeria had 13.2 million out of school children. And among them, as at 2016, Borno State had 1.8 million. And that for me is scary. And of these children, as at 2017, we had 52,311 who were orphaned in Borno State. And then when you now look at the last 5 years, what could have happened? You can imagine the number. So if they've taken out almost 5,000 now, based on what we have seen, then I think it's encouraging.
Yes.
And we should challenge all these multinationals who are pumping money into lewd reality TV shows. That this is better.
Yes. This is better. Go and take your billions.
Far better.
Your 3 billions.
These are the things those are children who are into Yahoo money rituals should be looking at, not the ones that promote
nudity and the rest.
This
moral debasement.
This is what we should be looking at.
Right. What is wrong in the multinational company delivering a school as big as this, as their own contribution to education
and bringing teachers?
Yes,
bringing teachers. And that's our offering. Journalist Hangout on Sunday. I really like to thank everybody that you've been with us since we started 1:30.